Mind, Body, Spirit, Part 3, The Anatomy of Your Soul. Welcome to this video where we're going to be diving deep into who you are, what makes you you. And we've already been looking at the 3 different levels of who you are. The spirit, the mind, and the body. Been looking at the unconscious mind and the conscious mind. The unconscious mind being the part of you which is underneath the water on the iceberg, right? Unconscious mind. The conscious mind up here. And we've been looking at how this is really what's running your show. We are living up here on the level of conscious awareness, what you're focusing on right now, right? What you can see, what you can hear. And most people are running around thinking that if you want to change your life, you got to do it on the conscious mind level. So what they're able to influence directly in the physical world there and then is what most people try and change. If they want to lose some weight, they go and cut their calories, start exercising more. If they want to make some more money, they start working more hours, working harder, doing things that perhaps they don't really want to do, making sacrifices, right? This is all happening on the conscious level. But what we realized from the last episode is that this, the unconscious, is the powerhouse. This makes up 97% or more of what's actually going on in your life. Your life is an expression of all of the programs, the thoughts, the ideas, the beliefs that have been installed in your unconscious mind at a previous time, right? And so if you want to actually change anything in your life and you want to do it much, much faster and with much less effort, then tapping into your unconscious and really tapping into the power of your soul and your spirit, this is the key. This is the key. I want you to think of your life in terms of a beautiful building in a city, right? The most magnificent city. You've got this tall building, and this building has 7 different levels. And really what this building is a picture of your soul. Now, when the soul is born, when you were born, you're starting off on this first level. You're starting off on this very low level. And as you start to grow and develop, what's happening is your soul is evolving. You're becoming more aware and conscious of yourself, the world around you, and your place in the universe. This happens in a process, in a sequence. And this actually can't happen without all of these levels being firmly built and clear, right? You can't move up to the next level of your soul, of awareness, unless the levels below it are nice and strong and they can support everything that you want to do up here. So understanding this process of development of your soul is the key to moving up to the higher floors of the building. Now, on the higher floors, you can step out onto the balcony and you can see the entire city. You can see for miles and miles. The air is clean up there. The view is beautiful. The apartment that you have on the top floor of the building is luxurious because it's the most expensive real estate, right? So you're going to have the most ultimate experience of your life as you move to the higher levels of this building. Many people are stuck on the lower levels of the building, and because they haven't fully completed these lower levels, they're trying to jump up to higher levels in life, but they always have to come back down because you can only go as high up as your foundations are strong. And what we're really looking at here is the process of your development. Like we looked at in an earlier episode, you've got your spirit in the middle, the center of who you are, the power source. Then you've got your unconscious mind. And then you've got your conscious mind, this outside layer. And as you're developing, you're moving out from spirit in a spiral-like fashion. This is like your life unfolding, and you're expanding. And that is actually the purpose of the soul. That's the reason that soul exists, is to move from immaterial, spiritual, and condense down into physical, where it can develop and grow and evolve through physical, through these different challenges of the physical world. It can evolve up the building to the higher floors back to spirit, where it can then create on a much more powerful level. Having mastered the physical world, it can then create physicality. So that's the journey of the soul. That's where it's going. As we saw, the problem is throughout life we have blocks. Throughout life we have traumas, we have experiences as part of our soul's journey which challenge who we are and cause us to look within and cause us to begin this journey of clearing, of letting go, of raising our vibration, of eliminating the negative and enhancing the positive. This is all part of clearing out the blocks in the unconscious mind and moving to these higher states of awareness and power. So what are these levels? Now that we know we're here to expand, our purpose is to expand and have fuller and fuller expression forever and ever, infinitely, the purpose of the soul. How do we do that? Well, the first stage in the journey is in fact physicality. So this is where we incarnate into a body. The soul expresses itself into a simple life form, which in our case would be a baby, a human baby. And this is happening at 0 to 12 months. As I'm writing these ages, pay attention to where you were at that stage of your life. And this is going to reveal to you the potential causes or the sources of problems that you're having today in your conscious experience, in your physical world on a very practical basis, such as money needs, relationship, health, your career, your creativity. Pay attention to these different stages of your soul's evolution and you'll begin to understand where these problems came from. It's going to be very, very powerful for you if you can put this into context of your own life. So at 0 to 12 months, we're born as a baby, and our first challenge is survival, right? Survival. As that 12-month-old baby, we're concerned with where's the food, am I safe, who's my family, and I need to go to sleep, right? Basic survival functions. Now, this is the place where we've often got a lot of problems in terms of finance. This would be coming from this first level of development. Trust, in terms of trusting other people. Security, just basic issues of feeling secure and safe in our own body. This is all happening at 0 to 12 months old as a small baby. So the biggest demon of this level is fear. The amount of fear that you have in your life can be directly traced to this experience in your life, this part of your development. So by going back to this early stage of your life and clearing out the blocks that happened when you were that small baby, this is going to impact your entire life, because all of these higher levels are built on these lower levels. These are the foundational levels, and if these are strong, this is all going to be strong. This is weak, this is all going to be weak, and there's only so far up the tower you can move before it crumbles if this is not strong. So understanding your relationship with trust, understanding your relationship with life itself. How safe do you feel? How much do you feel that your own needs are met? These are all issues of this first floor. Once this is developed, once we've got a basic sense that we can survive, even if it's not optimal, but we know that we can survive, then we're going to move up to the next level. And this level is all about self. This is where we've moved beyond our basic needs, and now we're realizing at 6 months to 2 years old that we are a self. We're an individual. We're separate from our family. We're separate from mum and dad, sister and brother, and we're an individual. What happens here is that we're now figuring out how to be resilient. We're now figuring out how to get stuff done. We're figuring out how to be agents of change in our own world. So now we're going to find ourselves food. We're going to start playing and exploring by ourselves. We're getting a sense of our own ability to create. We're starting to play with things, stimulating our minds. Perhaps we're starting to draw or play with toys. And we're stepping into that role of an individual self who has power to create. The biggest demon of this level is guilt. So the 6-month-old to 2-year-old child, if they can develop a strong sense of themselves, if they can develop a strong sense of their own power, they're going to develop to the next level. If they're in an environment where they're blamed, if they're in an environment where they're made to feel like their self isn't enough, what is this creating and reinforcing? Guilt. Now, each of these emotions, these negative challenge emotions, also have a positive attached to them that can dissolve the major challenge of that level, which we'll jump into after. So I'll map this out, and then we're going to come back and look at how to resolve the problems, the biggest challenges of each level. Once we move on from this level, so self, we've got that sense of our own ability. We're understanding that we're a sexual being, we're a creative being on a very rudimentary and basic level. We're then moving up to the next level, and this is the level of power. We are now 18 months to 4 years old. Think about the toddler developing into the young child. And this is where we're learning about our own power to influence the world. And we're developing a relationship with power that may be positive, maybe predominantly negative, or maybe a mixture of both, which is for most people. The biggest challenge or the demon of this level is the emotion of shame. Think about any time that you were made to feel powerless, the emotion that came with that. Your power was taken away. Your ability to influence your environment was challenged. This could be parental abuse, this could be siblings, this could be your first experiences in a social setting. This is where we learn to negotiate power and either internalize it and own it, or give it out and externalize it. This is the issue of this stage of your soul's evolution. So these are really the foundational levels. And anyone who wants to evolve into the higher levels of being and access their highest creative faculties, who wants to access their highest ability to influence and change and create things in the world, the highest ability to express, you're only going to be able to go as far as you've established, as you've completed the challenges of these levels. So if your relationship with fear is really bad in terms of you're run by fear, there's just fear everywhere you look at the world through the eyes of fear, that limits your ability to go higher. If you're racked by guilt, so you don't feel like you're enough, or you feel like you're wrong somehow, which is a very common program in our culture, then this is going to seriously limit how far up this building and how much power you can actually access in your life. If you're stuck at the level of power issues, the toddler who feels like they have been disempowered, that's creating a block at that stage of your life, which is going to flow on to the rest of your life, because the soul builds on itself as it moves, as it evolves. This is why shadow work is taking us back to these lower levels of development, these earlier stages of our life, so that we can then begin to heal them and integrate them. So moving along, once we have moved through this level, we've got a basic sense of where the power lies, we can evolve up to the next level. Now this is the level of love. This is where we begin to get that sense of connection to friends, family, even our environment, our physical world. And it's from a space of, I am a separate person, right? So this love is different from the dependence that we've got on the level of survival, where we're bonded to our tribe or we're bonded to our family unit. This is a sense of love which flows forth from the realization that I'm me and you're you, and I'm connected to you on some level. This is where love begins to develop, the heart begins to open, and the biggest challenge on the level of love is grief. The emotion of grief. How much grief do you have in your life? Is there suppressed grief from these earlier years? This is going to be the key to opening you up to love, by healing that grief, by letting go of it, which we look at how to do that in the other series I've made, Letting Go. This is what's going to enable you to build a strong foundation at this stage of your journey. So this level is 4 to 7 years old. I wonder if you can remember back to where you were in your life, where you were in your family, what kind of physical environment you were in at that stage, at that age, because that will be the key to you understanding any blocks that you have around love. Is there grief? Is there shame? Is there guilt? Is there fear? It's coming from, at the most foundational level, these different stages of your soul's development. Once we move through love, once we've got that sense of basic connection as a self to others, to the ones that we love and trust in our life, we're going to move up to the next level, which is all about communication. Can you see how every level's providing the context, every level's providing the foundation for the next level to emerge? Communication can then begin to unfold and expand. So at this stage, we are 7 to 12 years old. We're moving into the modeling period where we're looking for role models. We're looking externally for people to shape ourselves in a similar way. We're beginning to understand the rules of society. We're beginning to understand the social dynamics of groups of people and how to be in a group, how to be independent from a group. This is all happening as we navigate this level of communication, right? This is how it all fits together. Our biggest challenge at this level in terms of emotion is truth. Here we're negotiating how our communication is going to come out. Is it going to be congruent with who we are? Or because of survival needs, blocks, which weren't properly established, are we going to be communicating in ways that are not integrous? Are we going to be telling white lies? Are we going to be using our communication to manipulate our environment or to enhance and to express ourselves freely? It all depends on how we went on these different levels, right? So it's all about mastering communication and navigating truth, how truth flows through us, and if it can, because of what's happened at these earlier stages. Once we move on from communication, we're now moving up to a higher level again in our soul's evolution, and we're moving into intuition. So intuition is occurring at adolescence. We're beginning to develop our sense of intuition, where we're knowing things that we may not have access to the physical information. We're beginning to get a deep sense of what's going on in other people. We're beginning to get a sense of trust in our own judgment, right? Because we've developed through these levels. We've got a basic survival, a basic mastery of survival. We've got a sense of ourself. We've got a sense of power and how to use it. We've got a sense of love and connection with others. We've got an ability to communicate and express ourselves and a relationship with truth. And now we're able to tap deeply into our intuition. And this is all about our ability to know how something is going to go, know the essence of what's really going on in a situation. You might have had a relationship experience where your partner is angry or something's wrong, and of course they haven't told you, or they might just deny it, but instantly you know there's something going on because our insight, our intuition is beginning to unfold. So adolescence and then continuing on through our life, if we've opened this level up, it's going to continue and expand that ability. The biggest challenge with intuition is presence. Learning how to be present. Learning how to tap into our inner feelings and not just be run by the physical world of what's going on. Seeing through to the essence of what's really happening, the emotional core of what we're experiencing is intuition. And we can tap deeply into our intuition if we can learn to be present. So that's the next level. The last one we'll look at is thought. All right, so this is above intuition, one level up again. The last level we'll look at for now, although this building continues going higher and higher, we're going to leave it there for now, and in future videos we might even start to look at what goes beyond the level of thought. But this is happening throughout life in terms of when. From adolescence and beyond. This is where we're developing our cognition, our critical thinking. This is our higher faculty. And we're beginning to develop our ability to reason, to think abstractly, to be conceptual. This can only happen, again, once we've moved through all the developmental levels. Biggest challenge for this level is going to be surrender. Surrender. Trust, knowing, letting go, all of this is giving us a greater ability to tap into these higher realms where we're beginning to get access to higher information. We're on the top floor of the building for now, and the view is starting to extend. We can see beyond the dirty street where there's rubbish, noise, pollution happening, and crime. We can see beyond just our individual self. We can see beyond the power structures around us. We can see beyond, we can see through the eyes of love. We can see a connection between all things, ourselves and others. We can see a common thread and have that sense of union. We're able to communicate clearly. Our intuition is developing, and now cognition, thought, abstract reasoning, concepts are opening up, and we're beginning to look higher. And this is really the departure point for a expanded spirituality. This is where we're moving into those higher realms. So this gives you a template of your soul's development in your life so far. What you can use this for, the value of this model, is beginning to understand, where am I having blocks in each one of these areas, right? Where am I having blocks in communication? This has originated at this stage of your life, 7 to 12 years old. Where am I having blocks in terms of love, opening up, trusting, being vulnerable in a relationship? This can be traced back to this developmental stage in your life. Where am I having issues with power, being able to assert my own power, internalize my power instead of externalizing it and giving it away to others all the time? This can be traced back to this stage of your life, and this is the corresponding emotion that needs to be worked through. This is the emotional block, right? That's going to enable you to open up into the fullest expression of that level, strengthen up that floor of the building so you can build beyond and start moving up higher and higher and higher. How do we overcome fear? What is the solution to fear? What's the emotional state that you can use, that you can begin to open yourself up to, that's going to eliminate fear, that's going to give you that sense of peace when it comes to issues of survival? It's love. Tapping into the power of love is the neutralizing force for fear. How do we allow ourselves to deal with guilt? How do we dissolve that emotion of guilt? If we're going to be doing shadow work and going back to these earlier levels and bringing the guilt up, letting it go, surrendering it, we're going to be doing that through acceptance. Learning to accept ourselves completely as we are, letting go of blame. This is going to eliminate guilt and allow us to move fully through that stage of self up to the next level. How do we deal with shame? How do we eliminate and dissolve that toxic emotion which is limiting our growth? Self-respect. Or we could say self-honor. Recognizing the importance of our selfhood, recognizing our own sovereignty, becoming aware of the fact that we are worthy of full respect just as much as anyone else is. This is the emotional state that's going to allow us to heal this level, our relationship with power, coming into a place of self-respect, self-acceptance. What about the next one? Grief. How do we dissolve this emotion of grief? We do that by recognizing the truth of oneness, which is where we realize on a emotional, embodied, not just a conceptual head level, that all is one. We're connected with everything. Everything is an extension of us, a part of us. There's a union, there's a commonness between all things, no matter what species, what type, what person, what gender, what race, religion, oneness. This is the solution for grief. The sense of having lost someone who we value in our life. How do we overcome that developmental hurdle? we recognize that nothing is ever lost. It just changes form. So these are the different lessons. These are the different emotional shifts that are taking place, allowing us to move up higher and higher and higher. Of course, truth, well, that stands for itself. Our relationship with truth can be improved. Our communication can be improved. Our sense of integrity can become improved and become whole when we let go of lies, when we let go of double truths, when we let go of deceiving ourselves and telling ourselves things that make us feel comfortable, little stories and little blocks that we use to shield ourselves from the truth. By releasing that and letting go of it, we can come into a full relationship with truth, and our communication can be flowing from that place, which is where we're getting ultimate power, which is where we're getting the ability to speak and people are listening to us because they can feel that truth coming off. The next level, presence. Again, we can fully develop this by focusing on the truth. By focusing on the truth of this moment, by being present, we can develop our intuition. Instead of getting distracted with lies, deception, instead of getting distracted with the comfort of the ego, which, by the way, if you haven't already realized, the lower we are on the scale, the closer we are to ego. The higher we are, the closer we are to spirit, the more we're moving fully into that expression. So that's how we develop our intuition, by being present, by seeking the truth, by being open and focused on the truth of every situation, the essence of what's really going on. That's how we develop. Then lastly, on this high level, we've got surrender. And this is how we're able to expand our knowledge and our awareness into greater and greater levels by learning to surrender, by living in the present. We are opening up that highest level where our view is going to be absolutely incredible. Our power level is going to be absolutely incredible. The quality of our life is going to be amazing. I hope that makes sense to you. I hope that's a nice summary of the progression of your soul and how you develop through these different ages, the different challenges, the different, themes of each of these different ages. This is going to put things into context for you. So if you haven't, spend some time just looking at that closely, thinking about, reflecting on, okay, that makes sense. This block that I've got with relationships could actually be coming from this age when the environment I was in was a certain way. And by doing this, you're gaining your awareness, you're expanding your awareness, and you're giving yourself the ability to begin to heal this, to release it, and to develop and evolve. So thank you for watching that. If you've got any questions, put them in the comment section below. I hope that helps, and get excited for the next video where we're going to be looking at these different stages of development in more detail and opening up what starts to happen as your life moves higher and higher, because that is really the juice of everything that we're doing here. Is how do we tap into these abilities? How do we expand our world and ourselves to the point where we can receive and create more and more and more? So look forward to that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.